City Council may have decided that Dease Pool should close, but a determined group of activists met at the hub today to decide the fight is not over. Here's the story. This is James with Net News Ledger.
What's the goal here? Dease Pool, the city says they're closing it. They've ratified the vote. Do you think the process is over? Is this fight over already?
There's no way it can be over. The city didn't follow proper procedure. They didn't follow their own protocol and their own bylaws and the rules that they expect all of us to follow. We do know that it is considered a heritage site. It's not a designated site, but it is considered a heritage site, which does give it some protection. And also, should force the city, if I was to develop or try to develop a heritage site, I would have to go through a 60-day wait period of public consultation and have proof that I gave the public the opportunity and the environment and the proper faculties to be able to have their say in this, which the city did not at all. So we are actually going to use their own rule book and playbook to continue to fight for this. I do know that the pool is in bad shape, but again, that's the city has received 40 years worth of reports. Every single year they get a report telling them that they need to do more for repairs, they need to do more than just the bubblegum fixes, which is what the actual company that repairs the pool has told me. The city's claiming it's not negligence on their part, but when you continually ignore repair reports and recommendations, of course, it's going to be at the end of its life. They didn't try to keep it up to par.
And the city, they're also saying that it's going to cost a whole whack of money to either replace it or repair it. You went out and did your own research,
Yes.
and you found that it's not going to cost that much.
No, so I received multiple quotes. It is a small pool. It's 1,200 square feet. All the infrastructure is already there. And for a pool that size, on barren land without any hole being there or anything already, one of the highest quotes I received was $76,500 for a pool that size. That's just the pool with filtration system. That's a concrete pool with a liner. That's not a heater, that's not a change room or anything. But again, all the infrastructure is already there. When we asked the city to present us these quotes, they didn't have the quotes, they didn't have the numbers. And the numbers that we've been hearing are $1.2 million to $3 million. That's a pretty broad range. And for you to not have a single piece of paper to show us of how you came up with those numbers, well, I could take a number out of thin air too. I could, make numbers up and hey, that's what it is. So until they provide us with proof. Also too, when did they put it out to public tender? When did they ask the local contractors, when did they give us an opportunity to actually bid on this? Put it out locally and see what the local contractors have to say. And we'll see if our numbers come even close. But now they've put out the standard of, $3 million. Some contractors might get greedy and try to get that $3 million job, but it's very clear that the city has a plan for this site, and it does not take into consideration the actual people that live in the neighborhood, and they clearly don't care about what's going to happen to the kids that hang out there. It's not little kids that hang out there. It's the 13 to 18-year-olds that hang out there. It's the kids that don't want to be in regimented programming. It's the kids who want to just hang out at the park or hang out at a pool, that just want to be with their friends. They don't want a babysitter. They don't need a babysitter. So we could put $52,000 a year into other organizations, but this group of kids, this group of youth, is not going to see the lion's share of that, and they're not going to benefit from it.
Do you think Mayor Morrow, who was the former Minister of Municipal Affairs, sitting in the council chamber and having cast the deciding vote the other night, did he miss his due diligence with following procedure?
I don't want to single him out. He should be knowledgeable in this. He is a very knowledgeable person. I think it was a slap in the whole neighborhood's face by all the councillors, where after the city council meeting, or during the city council meeting, but after our deputations, the person that city council relies on for the information, Mrs. Robertson, admitted every time she was asked a question that she didn't have the information. So right there, that was just cause for the requested deferral. That was enough reason. And typically, if you look at any other council meeting throughout history, when a deferral is requested due to lack of information, it is granted. They clearly admitted to no consultation, not having all the proper information, not knowing where to find this information, yet they still pushed it through, which shows that they have an ulterior plan that we don't know of.
So just based on what you've just presented here, which to me personally is kind of new, and based on what I've heard from the city, we've got such a opposite points of view on this, or what you're presenting as opposed to what the city is saying. There's a lot of people that are listening to this and thinking, huh? Why is such a discrepancy here?
I think that, and I don't want to offend my community, I don't want to offend my neighbors, but people look at this part of town as a poor part of town. Stereotypically, the lower income families are perceived as not as educated. I think what they're hoping is that they could just pull the wool over our eyes. I think what they're hoping is that we don't have the strength or the knowledge or the faculties and capacity to challenge them. And I really believe that that's the hope that they have by trying to push this through so quickly and discreetly. The simple fact that nobody knew of it until it was voting time is proof enough. How is this the first decision that a new council makes, admitting that they don't have information? How are they able to make this vote? And yes, we are going to challenge it, and I do want to see all the information that's being requested. And until that information can be provided and proven, we do have an army of people, a small army right now, that are willing to fight, and all of us are willing to find more information and do our research and do our due diligence and walk the walk instead of just talking it.
The city appears to be pretty steadfast in its decision. Do you think you're actually going to be able to do something here? Or
I'm a woman in construction. I grew up poor. I had a child when I was 20 years old. I build houses for a living. Do I look like I build houses for a living? I do. I used to be a power lifter. I'm the main organizer for Thunder Bay's Strongest Man. Do I look like I could do any of those things? Don't judge a book by its cover. And yeah, everybody is capable of a lot more than what we ever think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.